Today we're going over the 2026 Spring Banner in Fire Emblem Heroes. This month we have bunny-themed alts for Dorothea, Thorr, Rearmed Sothe, yes you heard that right. Last is Harmonic Eirika plus Micaiah. We'll talk about everyone's stats and skills, plus discuss general playstyle and build ideas. First up, Spring Dorothea is the 4-star focus unit. You can get her at 4 or 5-star rarity. This time Dorothea is a green flying mage, which will complete the color spectrum for her. For stats, Dorothea has 43 HP, 48 attack, 30 speed, 20 defense, and 48 res. She has very high attack and res with a res super boom that will come at the cost of almost all defense with not the greatest speed. For old skills, Dorothea has Glacies for her special. She then comes with 2 relatively rare skills. First is Shadow Shift 3, which has the Shadow Reposition effect during Kanto, but you don't get the extra stats or healing like the Tier 4. Dorothea also comes with Attack and Res Far Resound, which grants true damage, DR Piercing, and Fortress for Kanto. Pretty nice B skill option if you want those traits, and this is why Dorothea has a bit more base HP to work with. As for Inheritable Green Tome, Dorothea has the Spring Hair Egg Plus. At start of either phase, grants plus 6 attack and res, preamp pulse, and low statuses to allies within 2 spaces. The user then gets plus 5 stats in combat, 20 true damage, and 10 flat damage reduction. Spring Hair Egg offers decent support with attack and res field boss and enemy buff neutralization. You get preamp pulse, which you can pretend is like having slaying, and then you get the current standards of plus 5 stats, 20 true damage, and 10 flat DR. Pretty universal weapon option, and kinda like a budget version of the most recent Arcane Green Tome. In terms of builds, Dorothea isn't doing anything super fancy. With her base kit you get more attack and res, some cooldown, decent true damage, partial DR piercing, and then Kanto plus Shadow Reposition. If possible, try to get to 45 HP because then Dorothea will get 10 true damage and 50% piercing via Far Resound. If you want to trigger Glacies, Dorothea will need more cooldown perks. You can use Heavy Blade, but Dorothea would have to tank a counterattack. Even if you ran Ice Wall, its 40% DR wouldn't be guaranteed to activate. One way to get around that would be to also use Silence Ward for another -1 instant cooldown. As for A skills, Dorothea can use Slime Mirror to get a follow-up attack, plus she has the 2 statuses to get the extra true damage. If you wanted to upgrade to Arcane Suttinger's Mystery, Dorothea would get 10 more stats, Slaying, 50% Piercing, and 5 more true damage / flat DR. Its support effects are a bit more stat focused with -7 speed and res debuffs, Panic, and Discord. If you inherit from Rearmed Sothe, Dorothea can also take Logic and Conjuring Breath. This would give Dorothea a 40% DR special, but only when initiating. She would still have to tank a counterattack, but the Protect cooldown via Conjuring Breath will get Logic charged up for the follow-up. While this type of setup would love Aria for an extra 20 true damage, Dorothea has no console to get out after. Instead, you could use Mastery or the newer Airspace, but Airspace is an attack and speed focused skill. Another option is to use Fortress Echo instead. As for getting a follow-up attack, you can run Crux Echo, but there is the newer Crux Ploys now. Dorothea has the high flat res to trigger the Ploy status. Speaking of high res, Dorothea can use Spring Hair Egg or Stinkers for a support build. Spring Hair Egg with Silence Ward can stack instant cooldown, or you could try Favor. Suttinger's debuffs with Panic will synergize greatly if you go at Havoc's Sabotage effect. Now since Detect Aerial basically inflicts low for anyone on the map, I would use it with Suttinger's but not with the Spring Hair Egg. If you want more flat res, Dorothea can use Still or Crystalline Water. For other support options, you can use Guidance Warp effects or the newer Shred Assault to lead the charge. Shackle skills are fine, and the newer Uplift Fire skills are also interesting. All in all, Spring Dorothea is pretty basic, high attack and res mage who can lean into both damage and supportive roles. Next, the only normal seasonal 5-star of the banner is Spring Thorr. Back when we used to get heroic rail units, Spring Loki was a rare flying archer. Seems like she's finally dragged Thorr in for another ult now that Ragnarok's happening. For this ult, Thorr is a lance flyer. She has 45 HP, 49 attack, 16 speed, 49 defense, and 40 res. Triple super boons in attack, defense, and res, basically built like an armor unit. For old skills, Thorr brings Arch Rival and has Heavenly Soar for warping plus extra flat DR safety. Thor's weapon is the Spring Thorn. For foes within 3 rows or columns, inflict -5 stats, defensive tempo, foes will take 10 true damage, and last you will prevent one of their follow-up attacks. For Thorr herself, she gets excited specials and plus 10 stats in combat. She does 25 true damage and has 15 Excel type flat DR. Thorr will get a free follow-up herself, and then -1 instant cooldown before attacking. This Thorr has some interesting support perks starting with defensive tempo and follow-up denial. For herself, Thorr will have double pre-impulse, and if she faces a red foe, that means she can instantly trigger Arch Rival. She may have low speed, but Thorr is getting effectively plus 15 speed from this weapon, and she has Omni Breaker, so other slow foes gotta watch out. Thor's unique C skill is World Destroyer. Allies within 2 spaces of Thorr can warp to tiles within 2 spaces. For Thorr and allies within 3 walls or columns, they get plus 5 stats, 7 flat DR, 40% damage reflection, and if they have 5 or more defense than the enemy, they get Hardy Bearing. For Thorr herself, she has Iota Shield and Distant Counter to fight pesky archers. Thorr gets 7 true damage and breath type cooldown. World Destroyer adds more long-range support for the team, including the rarer 40% damage reflection effect and Hardy Bearing for high defense allies. Thorr also gives plus 5 stats and 7 flat DR, so pretty impressive defensive support. As for herself, Thorr will tank archers just fine, and she's got her signature breath type cooldown to go with her minus instant cooldown weapon. For a new inheritable A skill, Thorr brings Divine Spectre. This skill enables contour distance plus 1. If the unit initiates combat or there's an ally within 3 rows or columns, then the user gets plus 10 attack and defense, deals true damage equal to X times 4, and gets flat DR equal to X times 3. X is going to be equal to the number of allies in that 3 row or column range, up to a max of 3. This means you can get 12 true damage and 9 flat DR. I'm almost certain there's been like a mistake with the translation or something because the name for this skill is kind of misleading. We just got a new A skill called Swift Spectre, which has no follow-up and Kanto for melee infantry. Divine Spectre has nothing to do with that skill. Divine Spectre is an attack and defense Blue Skies variant with the same Kanto as the upgraded Blue Skies Gust. It builds out of Blue Skies 3, and it's only for Sword, Lance, and Axe Cavaliers / Flyers. If anything, this should be called Divine Gust or Divine Skies or something. Some poor soul is going to try and inherit one of these Spectre skills for the wrong unit type. Please don't make that mistake. Bad skill names aside, what is Spring Thor's game plan? Generally, she's going to warp in with Heavenly Soar, and if the foe is red, she gets -2 instant cooldown from her weapon and another -2 cooldown from Arch Rival for an immediate special proc. If the foe survives, Thor's got 40% DR with a full kit of flat DR skills. She denies a follow-up attack and has 40% damage reflection plus her own free follow-up. If the foe wasn't red, Thorr would still charge Arch Rival for her first attack, or when she gets hit if they have guard. Her follow-up could trigger Arch Rival if needed, and after combat she has Divine Spectre's Kanto to escape. For other perks, Thorr combines Arch Rival's guard plus special uncharging with her defensive tempo to deny enemy specials. If you try to initiate on Thorr, she has Distant Counter, and could ready Arch Rival for her first counterattack along with the 40% damage reflection. In regards to the team support, Thorr shares defensive skills like Hardy Bearing, Follow-up Denial, Defensive Tempo, and Damage Reflection. On top of this, Thorr effectively gives plus 10 stats, 10 true damage, and 7 flat DR. She's got quite good support, and I think it could be very fun for like a Frozen team. For the most part, Thor's base kit is excellent. You could run Blue Skies 3 just for the more true damage and flat DR portions. I'd know she is a 16 base speed unit, but Thor's weapon and C skill effectively give plus 20 speed. Maybe you could entertain running potent skills like the Sacred Seal or Air Superiority. Another way to get more hits in is with Gale Force Mist. For other interesting skills, Strat Flame can lay down flame tiles, while Momentum / Assault Impetus can give Thorr -3 or -4 instant cooldown just for fun. Thorr could potentially trigger 3 cooldown specials like Haze Slice twice if she gets hit back, but I would just keep Arch Rival personally. Overall, Spring Thorr is a rare, slower, bulky flyer, but she's bringing some neat support perks that other tanks could use well. She's got lots of cooldown with distant counter capabilities to become a flying fortress herself. Our third unit is an interesting one. First off, Spring Sothe is our first seasonal rearmed unit. Honestly, kinda surprised this hasn't happened earlier. However, Sothe is also the first unit to get a second rearmed ult. Why? Hundreds of characters and they picked the same guy for the same special unit type. Hey, at least this time he's got a different outfit. Rearmed Sothe is once again a colorless dagger infantry unit. He's got 42 HP, 45 attack, 49 speed, 34 defense, and 29 res. Sothe will have a speed super boom. For old skills, Sothe brings some good dagger fodder with attack and speed waylay, which is the dagger only no follow-up skill. He also has Lookout Smog, which is the Kanto plus distance swap dagger skill that comes with flat DR and scout. Sothe's second arcane dagger is Arcane Slicer. At start of either phase, grants plus 6 attack and speed, pulse follow, and dodge to allies within 2 spaces. This weapon has plus 7 phantom speed for the dodge part. It then has the standard 4th gen arcane weapon effects of Sling, plus 15 stats in combat, 25 true damage, 15 flat DR, and 50% DR piercing. The pulse follow status is brand new, but it's essentially the pulse on effect, grants -2 instant cooldown for the first follow-up attack. We have a lot of premium pulse support effects, but having instant cooldown for the follow-up is much harder to come by. Overall, Arcane Slicer is fine if you want a new dagger weapon. Daggers luckily got Winter Trinket Plus as a free-to-play option with the modern true damage and flat DR effects, but Arcane weapons just have a lot more stats and of course Sling. Slicer's pulse follow-up support is interesting, but you need to actually make it to your follow-up attack to use it. Next up, like his first rearmed ult, Sothe brings back Bane but as a 5 cooldown special this time. Damage-wise, True Bane deals 100% of the foe's speed or defense stat. Sothe's first attack in battle actually gets the old Bane effect, where if it's not an outright KO, Sothe automatically deals enough damage to take the foe to 1 health. This is affected by damage reduction though, so don't expect too much. Now for new effects, True Bane has 40% DR for all hits, few to disable enemy support effects in combat, no guard for constant cooldown, and the 100% pulled in follow-up effect. In addition, Sothe grants +2 great talent attack and speed to allies within 3 rows or columns every turn. If he triggers True Bane, then after combat, anyone within that range will also get another +4 attack and speed. So basically, True Bane gives Sothe extra damage on his first hit to soften them up. Sothe will have a 100% potent hit and no guard to charge True Bane for his follow-up attacks. This skill also hands out great talent stats. Another way to help out the team is with Sothe's new inheritable B skill. Disarm Rumor is the latest dagger-only B skill that comes with the Disarm Trap effect for Aether Raids. At start of every turn, and after acting, this skill inflicts -7 speed and defense plus Discord on closest foes and anyone nearby. The user gets another -4 speed and defense in combat, as well as 15 true damage and 7 flat DR for first attacks. If you want Disarm Trap utility, this latest version is pretty good. It has the modern true damage and flat DR that other B skills come with, and its debuffing portion can help out your team. It's not really a fancy skill, but Disarm Rumor is not bad even for non-Aether Raid modes. Rearmed Sothe's game plan is a bit more direct than usual quiet assassination. With Sling, True Bane will be on 4 cooldown. Sothe's first attack gives -1 cooldown thanks to no guard. Sothe's first follow-up gets the -2 instant cooldown, and the extra hit will charge True Bane. Sothe then has the 100% potent follow-up if he's fast enough, and that will trigger True Bane to finish off the kill. Besides follow-up scal effects like from Veil, it will be tough to stop True Bane if Sothe attacks all 3 times. The easiest way would be to one-shot Sothe during the counterattack. He has prepared for this though with his 40% unpierceable DR via True Bane and then 29 flat DR from Slicer, Disarm Rumor, and Lookout Smog. Smog's scal effect will hopefully stop an enemy special from going off, and Sothe has the regular 40% DR from the dodge status too. For other perks, Sothe will have no follow-up via Waylay, feud from True Bane, and then after combat he has counter 2 with distance swap from Lookout. Sothe provides his team with +6 attack and speed field buffs, constant great talent attack and speed buffs, and then inflicts -7 speed and defense debuffs with Discord. You got 3 sources of stat support, which is very nice. Generally, I would not replace anything in Sothe's base kit. You technically could use active Lookout for Desperation, but Sothe is planning to get hit if foes have Hardy Bearing. You could also run Hex Edge if you have no follow-up support, or maybe even close counter for fun. Sothe has other true damage / flat DR B skills, but they don't come with debuffing team support like Disarm Rumor. If you want their other perks though, then Execution Breath, Low Finish, or Parry are all not bad alternatives. For Sacred Seals, Sothe could use Finish for more true damage or perhaps bonus doubler if you get defensive res field buffing help. Sothe does lack sustain, so maybe you could find Desperation from the Sacred Seal slot for second fights onward. In conclusion, Rearmed Sothe is just an upgrade to his previous ult. True Bane will hurt, but Sothe is banking on surviving all the way to his follow-up attacks. The last new unit for today is Harmonic Eirika and Micaiah. I do love how Yoon even gets a teeny tiny eggshell hat for this ult. As a unit, Harmonic Eirika is a modern update on her super old Red Mage Cavalier ult. After 8+ years, let's just say she's been hitting the books hard. For stats, Eirika has 40 HP, 47 attack, 49 speed, 23 defense, and 26 res. She has a speed super boon with a full-on offensive stat spread. For ult skills, Eirika is the second unit with the Logic Mage special. It scales off attack, has 40% DR for initiations, and gives -1 cooldown if the foe has any kind of penalty. To empower the high cooldown special, Eirika has attack speed Aria for more true damage burst. Eirika's weapon is Spring Dawning. At start of either phase, grants empathy to allies within 2 spaces. After start of turn effects trigger on either phase, Eirika and allies within 2 spaces will convert their stat debuffs into field balls, and then neutralize the top 2 negative statuses on their active list. For Eirika herself, she gets Sling, gains 15 stats in combat, and has 15 flat DR. Once she triggers her damage special, Eirika gets bonus true damage equal to the max cooldown value times 12. Support-wise, Eirika offers empathy for bonus stats, while Micaiah has her attuned ults Harsh Command plus Penalty Cleansing. Eirika doesn't get the usual true damage on hit effect, instead all of it is concentrated into her special trigger. A 4 cooldown Slaying Logic will get 4 times 12 or 48 true damage on activation. Oh boy. Like Emblem Eirika, this ult has brought over her ranged attack style. This time though, Eirika can attack from 3 spaces away, she gets 10 true damage as a bonus, and last her special triggers get full DR piercing. The rest of the effects are the usual ranged style conditions, and Eirika can use the style once per turn. Not much else to say besides good luck hiding your Easter eggs from the 6-space attack range Mage Cav. For her unique Stellar Brave Speed skill, at start of turn and after acting, inflict -7 speed and res, panic and anti-miracle on the closest foe and anyone within 2 spaces. Eirika will get contact distance with a minimum of 1, she inflicts -5 attack, speed and res on the foe in combat, gets 7 flat DR, and has full no follow-up effects to double slower foes. When Eirika's special trigger, she deals true damage equal to X% of the greater of the foe's speed or res stat. X is equal to 20 plus the max special cooldown value times 10. Finally, Eirika has resurrected the exact same instant cooldown perk as Wind Tribe Claude. To simplify, I'm just going to explain how all of this works using the 4 cooldown slaying logic. First off, if Eirika has 4 statuses, then Y equals 4 cooldown, and she can instantly charge logic on the first attack. Second, if Eirika has 8 statuses, then Z also equals 4 cooldown, which means logic recharges on the follow-up attack. Going back to the previous true damage effect, 4 times 10 is 40, 40 plus 20 is 60, therefore when logic triggers, Eirika gets bonus true damage equal to 60% of the foe's speed or res stats. Altogether, Stellar Brace is incredibly scary. Eirika can pre-charge a high cooldown special, add more true damage, and can fully recharge it for a second activation. The catch is that Eirika needs to stack a lot of positive stats effects. From their Harmonized skill, Eirika and Micaiah gives Resonance Blades to allies from Sacred Stones and Radiant Dawn. In addition, they inflict -7 debuffs, double those up with Sabotage, and also tack on Share Spoils Plus onto the closest enemy and anyone nearby. Resonance Blades adds to Eirika's positive status count and grants +4 attack and speed. Meanwhile, sabotaging the full -7 debuffs equates to -14 total, and Sabotage does synergize with the panic that Stellar Brace inflicts. As for Share Spoils, the first one on Eirika's team to defeat a Share Spoils enemy gets an extra action. Those enemies also take full DR piercing and another -5 stats. Another way for Eirika to stack statuses is with her inheritable Attack and Speed Liberate C skill. This is the second Liberate variant. And Start of either phase grants Attack Liberate and Speed Liberate statuses to unit and the ally closest to the enemy. The user gets +4 attack and speed in combat, and anyone with Attack or Speed Liberate statuses will get bonus true damage in battle equal to 5 plus the number of positive statuses active on the unit. This can max out at 10 true damage. More attack, more true damage, more statuses, so all sounds good for Eirika. Let's summarize this crazy kit. On the support side, Micaiah brings her 2-space penalty cleansing with Harsh Command. These two then grant Empathy, Speed and Res debuffs, Panic, Anti-Miracle, and the Attack and Speed Liberate statuses. If you hit the Harmonized skill, you get Resonance Blades, -7 Sabotage debuffs, and Share Spoils. It's pretty good stuff. As for Eirika, Leon will be proud because my god, she's a very powerful mage now. Without the Harmonized skill, Eirika will get 3 statuses. Normally this is one short from instantly charging logic on the first attack. However, logic itself gives -1 instant cooldown if the foe has a penalty, which Eirika does inflict. When logic procs, Eirika deals 48 true damage from Spring Dawning and 20 from Attack and Speed Aria. You then have another true damage source of 60% of the foe's speed or res stat. I'm not even including the potential 10 true damage from Liberate, but it should be pretty clear that challenging this Eirika to tank her special probably is not ideal. It's not over, because if Eirika stacks up to a wild 8 positive statuses, then her follow-up attack will recharge logic. She can proc logic back to back if you let her. Suffice to say, but Eirika is all in on spectral activations. She has 6 range total with her style and full DR piercing. If you can scout her, she's a lot weaker. Spring Dawning can only give -4 instant cooldown on the first attack, but logic can make up from 1 cooldown to counteract 1 layer of scout. If Eirika can't finish the job on the first hit, she will get the 40% DR and 22 flat DR from her unique skills. She also gets a good amount of defensive res and attack debuffs, but obviously she's starting out with low base defensive stats. Like most star banner units, I don't think Eirika needs more skills. You technically could run other Hone Cavalry C skills, but because Micaiah has Harsh Command, it will turn the debuffs into field buffs, which is why they have Liberate for in-combat stats instead. Since Eirika could get one shot, you could use Hardy Bearing if Vantage is a concern. Other than that, stack more attack for more logic damage, bring more speed for insurance. As part of the Tempest Trials rewards, you can get a copy of Spring Bernadetta. She's a blue cavalry archer with good offensive stats. Bow of Repose inflicts 1 damage on Bernie's nearby allies, which can activate her Escape Route 4B skill for content warping. If Bernie is under full HP, her weapon gives +5 stats and inflicts speed and defense debuffs based on spaces moved from the initiator. Additionally, if they moved 1 space, Bernie gets 30% regular DR for 1 hit. If they move 2 or more spaces, then you get offense in the follow-up and no guard. Not the worst perks, but Bernie was banking on her 30% DR from her weapon with a 30% DR from the remote sparrow to tank a hit. I would not rely on regular % DR today, but you could stack those with an unpierceable % DR special. If Bernie survives combat, defensive res smoke will inflict debuffs and grant a +6 attack, also giving Pathfinder to the user. Console plus Pathfinder can open up a path for allies to follow up on. As for Sacred Seals, this month you can get defensive res link 3, using movement assist to grant +6 defensive res to the user and target ally. We have so many attack and speed field buffing skills, so for a dedicated support build, this could be a useful tool. For example, you can run it with attack and speed favor to give full +6 buffing. The other Sacred Seal available is attack and defense rain 3, flyer skill that inflicts -4 attack and defense on anyone within 2 spaces. If you can position well, you can stack in-combat debuffs for allies when they fight, but obviously way tougher to do compared to the modern Crux range effects. If you want to set up a tank formation, then you could stack multiple Rains and Crux skills, could be fun for a funny flyer team. Last, it's not part of the Tempest Trials, but for completing the 104th Squad Assault, you can get the Squad Ace CZ3 Seal. This grants +6 HP and +4 speed and defense as flat stats. This is an upgraded version of the old BV, CF, and CP Squad Ace Sacred Seals. That will be it for the 2026 Spring Banner. I'm very concerned what kind of magic Micaiah is teaching Eirika, cause good lord. As for Rearmed Sothe, picking the same character for the same hero type with the exact same class, kinda dumb. At least Mart did something different, and had a new partner, plus it's freaking Mart, so I kinda get it. To make the situation worse, Rearmed heroes are a valuable asset for players due to their special inheritance. Being on new hero banners made them sparkable. If you want to spark this Sothe, you need the Fey Pass. It's not a good sign for future rearmed or attuned heroes. That's enough for me. Good luck if you're summoning. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.